Hey, my name is Andy Rasman. Continuing through the study through Genesis. We're on Genesis chapter 6 now. We're just going to read Genesis 6, 1 through 8. When man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. They were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out man whom I have created from the face of the land, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So this is a very controversial passage for a lot of people. If you're not aware of the controversy, now maybe you will. A lot of people, when they read through chapter 6, they see sons of God seeing daughters of men attractive, had sex with them, and then they say these Nephilim were the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men, and that these Nephilim were giants, literally giants, because the word Nephilim, some say, could be translated as giants. The ESV textual footnote, for instance, actually says, or giants. Nephilim in other times could also be, has been understood to potentially be translated as the fallen ones. So the great ones, the Nephilim, the fallen ones, maybe is another way it's been translated by some people. It does say that they were mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. So I think giants fits in terms of just even like these were mighty men. They were well known throughout the land. And the thing is that sons of God, some people read this to mean angels. The sons of God were angels, and they came and somehow procreated with daughters of men. To help support this, they go to the book of Job. Angels in the book of Job are referred to as sons of God in that book. And so they're saying, well, Job uses the term sons of God for angels. We then see sons of God here. They found daughters of men attractive, and they went into them, and they procreated, and they bore children to them. And that those children were the mighty men who were of old, and they would say those were the Nephilim. And so these Nephilim are said to be giants, larger than life physically, not just in their abilities and just what they've accomplished in life, but literally tall giants, because they are halflings, half spirit or half angel, half human. We would, if you're going to take this understanding, see these angels as demons, right? These are angels that have fallen. Some people put the fall of the angels here at this time, that the angels fell at this time. Others maybe put the fall with Satan. We see Satan's already in the garden deceiving. They put the fall sometime before the deception of the serpent in the garden, and then from there, these demons, these fallen angels, then procreated. They were already fallen, and they procreate with women, daughters of men. I have a different understanding of this. I think when you read Genesis 4 and 5, you see that it's tracking the line of Cain and the line of Seth. And the line of Seth would be the sons of God, and the daughters of men would be from the line of Cain. And what we see is those that would be believing sons find these non-believing women to be pretty and attractive, and they marry with them, and they produce offspring. And there is wickedness that abounds. And this is because the people in power are not God-fearing, not believing. And we see this throughout the whole of Scripture. People who are God's children, sons of God, like Samson, being drawn to non-believing women due to their beauty and sexuality, and engaging with them sexually, and it brings about nothing good. We see this with Solomon. King Solomon definitely falls into this, and it says that by these many wives that Solomon took that were non-believing wives, he was led astray in his faith and began to worship idols and have idolatry within Israel. So we see this pattern again and again, and then in the New Testament, we're told to not yoke ourselves with non-believers, and I think the context of that one could be more with just in business and in life, but oftentimes that yoking with non-believers is tied to marriage. Don't marry non-believers, and I'm sure in your own life you probably have seen people who are believers who confess Christ who then marry someone who denies Christ, and it's not long before that person is led astray and not going to church at all, not confessing Christ. It happens, and this is the pattern. And when people probably are, and somehow from this you have these Nephilim that emerge. I think in more of a modern day telling of this, it would be the Nephilim would be, the mighty men of today's age, right? People that everyone looks up to. So whether it be Donald Trump or some other high power and authority, or the celebrities and rock stars that everyone looks to and emulates, and they have wealth and they have fame and they have power and they can pretty much get and do anything that they want in this life. Hello, Epstein didn't kill himself. Debauchery runs amok, right? And violence, people take what they want violently, and they don't care about others because they have the power to do what they want and the wealth to do what they want, and they control the courts of justice, and that's how I would take this. Mankind, by and large, has lost its faith, and it ties down to this: intermarrying, men being drawn to non-believing women, and this type of intermarriage leads to an increase in wickedness, an increase in lack of faith, until what you end up seeing eventually here is that you have Noah, who is favored in the eyes of the Lord, and Noah was a righteous man, blameless in this generation of wickedness. That's how I would understand this. That's how I would read it, and I think that's the context. Some people that believe this was the intermarrying of demons with women producing offspring, they oftentimes may accredit the wickedness and the need for the coming flood that we're going to read about to purge the world of the Nephilim. But I believe we see later in the readings, that the Nephilim are still around after the flood. So I think that fits a lot more with my understanding that these Nephilim are just the brutes of the age that do wickedness and have power, and people look up to them and follow them instead of God. And from that, just more wickedness increases. That's how I would understand this passage, which brings about a lot of controversy and questions. The other one here, it seems that the Lord is sorry that he made man and that it grieves him in his heart. So some people see this and ask the question, does this mean that God made a mistake? I don't believe that's a way to interpret or understand this. I believe this is just saying God has pain when his children go astray and do things that are not of him. And the last point on this section, you do see that it is here that God says he's going to number their days to 120. It's as if because they lived so long, they had the ability to increase their wickedness and become more and more wicked, become more crafty in it. If you do have power and you're at the top and you have power for centuries and centuries, you just can abuse that power even more and increase the power even more and use it negatively. And so God's saying, I'm going to cut off their time so that cannot persist and continue. And as we continue to read through, we'll see that the age of people begins to decrease from this point on, and it takes quite a while after Adam before we get to the point where after Abraham, before we get to the point where people begin to not live past this 120 marker. God's peace be with you.